Hi, my name is Danielle Hanneman. I am a certified personal trainer, a nutrition coach, and I'm the founder of P31 Health. And today we're going to talk a little bit about foam rolling. So foam rolling is something that's become really popular over the last few years. If you've ever been into a CrossFit box, you've probably heard of it. Used to be standard operating procedure with athletes, and now it's kind of getting disseminated out into the general public. So what we're going to cover today is just the basics, foam rolling for dummies. How can you, at your gym or at home, use foam rolling to help you better recover? So foam rolling is a form of myofascial release. So it's basically a self-massage. You're targeting knots in your muscles and using a foam roller to help release them. You've got a couple of options when it comes to foam rollers. So this is probably what I would say is the most standard. You see these at a lot of gyms. Something like this is smaller, more portable, and a little bit softer. So this is actually made by a yoga brand. And then you can also foam roll with non-foam with something like a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. So the benefits of the different styles and types, something smaller like this, you can get into more targeted areas like into your hip or between your shoulder blades. And the softer it is, the less intense it's going to feel. So foam rolling is like a workout. It should be uncomfortable, but it shouldn't cause you severe pain. So you can modify intensity based on the stiffness or thickness of the foam roller and also the surface you're rolling on. So you'll see maybe PVC pipes, again, in a lot of CrossFit boxes. Don't start with a PVC pipe. That's going to be painful, right? So you can start off on a softer surface. So I'm going to use this foam roller for demonstration purposes. And notice I'm on a carpet. So that's going to be a little less intense than if I were to foam roll on a concrete floor or on my hardwood floor. So first things first, most people have really tight quads, hamstrings, hips, legs in general. So we're just going to kind of walk through the legs and some basic foam rolling stretches that you can do. So we'll start down at the bottom. We're going to start with the calf. Whenever you're foam rolling, you want to roll the whole muscle. So you want to start at the bottom and roll all the way up. So for your calf, that's going to look like starting here and then coming all the way up to the knee. And the reason we do that is because you don't want to just loosen half of the muscle. So the idea here is we're trying to aid recovery and reduce lactic acid buildup, get rid of knots, and it's just not functional if you're only stretching part of your muscle. Now, if you ever feel a knot, you can kind of stop and hover on it, but make sure you complete that roll all the way through, or else it kind of defeats the purpose. Once you've done your calves, we can move up and hit the hamstrings. So same thing, you're going to start at the bottom and just roll all the way up to where you feel like you're about to start running into the glute, and then come back down. You always want to stretch both legs or both sides of your body. So we'll just, for demo purposes today, I'll hit my right leg, and then I'll stretch my left leg after I turn the camera off, because you don't want to ever be imbalanced. Even if one side is stiffer or tenser than the other, always roll both. The amount of time you want to spend on one muscle group really just depends on how you're feeling and what you want to focus on. My calves and hamstrings aren't particularly tight, so I'd maybe do, back and forth about 5 times on each, and then I'm going to move on up. Glutes next. So same thing, you're just targeting and kind of slightly rolling. You never want to put a ton of pressure on your tailbone, so stop before you get to that sit bone, and you're just, again, rolling back and forth. You can also notice that, like with the quad or the hamstrings and the calves, I had one leg elevated. That puts extra pressure. So if both feet are down, you've got a little bit less intensity. If I wanted to really focus on this glute, I could maybe cross this leg and angle myself to put most of the weight on one side of my body versus having it evenly distributed. So we've worked the back side. We're going to hit the sides, get the IT band, and then we'll move to the front. So for the IT band, your IT band insertion point is at your knee, and it's going to come all the way up to the hip. So we want to hit here, and then just roll down. I tend to be really tight up in my hips, so I like to kind of hover right at the insertion point up top and get it really good. My right side isn't that bad. If I was demonstrating with my left side, I'd be cringing a lot more. And again, the rule is you can hover over a knot, but always make sure you fully roll it out afterwards. Ooh. And now with your IT band, you can kind of slowly start to rotate into your quad. So your quad is 4, right? 4 components. So you can hit it from multiple angles. So I can come here, get kind of the outside, and then ultimately flip all the way over and get my quads from this angle. And same as we did with the backs of the legs, you can get them both at the same time, or you can kind of elevate one leg to put a little bit of additional pressure on them. And then the last part of the quad, to get kind of the inside of your leg, you're going to roll back, angle your foam roller, and you're kind of getting like a frog position, we'll call it, and you can roll in and out here to get that inner quad. So that's the main when it comes to stretching your legs. Most of us, a lot of, especially if you work a desk job from sitting, have really tight hips. So you may find that IT band stretch and then getting the hip flexor right up here is going to really be a tender point for you. A couple of things too that I want to hit on when it comes to pregnancy and postpartum is, as women, you're carrying all this weight out here when you're pregnant, and so there's a lot of tension on the lower back. So foam rollers aren't quite as diverse as a smaller thing like a lacrosse ball, but you can roll out the lower back here. And then also a really good one for especially new moms, because we spend a lot of time hunching over, holding babies, nursing especially, is if you walk yourself down and get right between your shoulder blades, and then you're going to have your hands behind your head, not super wide but not pointing straight up either. Tuck your chin to your chest and just roll up and back here. So I know the first week after I came home with my baby, who she'll be 6 months old next week, I had like sharp shooting pain in my upper back, and I wish I had thought to do this, but I didn't. So now I do it pretty regularly, and it really helps mitigate all that hunching over that we do. So there are lots more things you can do with foam rollers, and I'm sure you can find plenty about it on the internet, but those are just some of the basics, and kind of that's what I would walk my training clients through when they wanted to start adding foam rolling into their recovery. And then the last thing I'll hit on a little bit is just some ideas. So lacrosse ball is going to be hard and pretty good at really digging into those muscles. If you need something less intense, you can use a tennis ball. But a couple of great things to do with these is you want to position yourself between a wall with the ball between you and the wall. So lower back, you can set it on either side of your spine. Make sure you're always hitting a muscle. We're not trying to roll bones here, but on either side of your spine, and you would lean up against the wall and just rotate at an angle, kind of like Baloo the bear in the Jungle Book, right? So you'd want to make sure you get both sides. And then another great one to do is you can get the glutes and this hip right in the hip flexors, again leaning up against the wall, or you could even on the floor. It's a lot of weight here, so this is really uncomfortable for some people, but you could get really deep into those hips here with a ball. And then again, with particularly women hunching over holding babies, if you are up against a wall, you can place the ball and get your shoulder blades. And you just want to kind of roll yourself in a circular motion, and just like we did with the foam roller, make sure you always do both sides and don't just focus on one spot. So even if you have to not work it out, but then make sure that ball gets worked around the rest of the muscle that you're targeting. So that's my foam rolling 101. Plenty more options you can do, but that should at least give you the basics and especially help release a lot of tension that we carry in the lower body. So go ahead and follow me, P31 Health, on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram and Periscope, and I look forward to giving you some more tips down the road. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.